Okay, I think we're live. Hello, everybody. Heidi here with my friend Jesse, who
Hi,
owns
everyone.
Painting with Jesse. Thanks for being here. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. My pleasure. It is an honor to be here with you.
Oh my gosh. So we are going to be talking a little bit about your business growth because you've had significant growth in your online business in the past year, especially. And so we've been talking a lot about how to do an online business, and people get very confused. So can you just share real quick a little bit? And as people come on, like Tammy and Rochelle, go ahead and say hello. In the chat to Jesse. And again, his business is Painting with Jesse, and he's going to be sharing a little bit about his growth. So tell us what has happened in the past year. And can we say what the biggest news that has happened?
Absolutely, we can. We can.
Okay, so tell us. I'm going to let you do the honors.
My wife and I had a little baby girl on Christmas. So 12:25 at 12:25 p.m. Elisa Itzel is her name, and she is 12 days old today. What is that? 12, 13 days, whatever it is now. I've lost a little bit of track. But yeah, 12:25 on 12, at 12:25 on 12:25. So pretty awesome. Best Christmas gift ever. So.
Congratulations. So a newborn. So please give him a little grace. He's a little sleep deprived. Any of y'all parents out there, you know this, you know exactly what he's going through at this moment. So congratulations. And let's just get down to it. So you have had a massive year, not only a new baby, but now you've had this success with online painting. Tell us what's happened.
So I did Tribe under you, what was that, April or May last year. Mm-hmm. I launched my membership in August. Did my founding members launch in August. I ended up with 109 people that joined. Then I did a reopening at the end of November. So you're trying to think, end of November, and I ended up with another 26 people that jumped in. So it's been a really amazing experience so far. Lots of work. But that's kind of in a nutshell, kind of the short-term things that have been happening in the last few months. I started really quickly. I started painting. I started following PPHQ sometime in 2000, and honestly, it was 2019. Sometime like in the summer of 2019. I had a paint party business that I started in 2016. It had been going amazingly, and then things kind of slowed down a little bit around that time. I found you, and I'm like, she's going to help me with a little bit of my marketing. And so kind of used the tips and stuff that I learned from you to kind of re-bolster my paint party business. And then COVID hit, so that changed everything. I've been wanting to do online stuff for a long time. I hadn't had the opportunity to do it time-wise. So that I pivoted at that point. Started doing a bunch of online painting events through all of COVID, building up my following. And then Tribe came up, and I was like, I got to take that. That's what I need. So I'm excited about Outer Limits. I think I would have done it if I would have known about Outer Limits back then. Somehow I missed it. Last year, I would have taken it first before Tribe, because I think it sounds like Outer Limits is kind of what gets you ready for that next step, which I think is, kind of Tribe. But either way, I think this is still perfect for me. It's my next big step, I think, the next natural step for my business. So excited, super excited.
I am so excited you're taking Outer Limits. And I know, so let's not skip past this. You pivoted a lot, like many of us artists do. And I know if you're in the comments, if you have had to pivot in the past 2 years, let us know. Because if you didn't pivot, you weren't doing it right, because everybody had to pivot. So let's not skip past this. So you started an online painting membership. How many people are in that?
So I've got a total of 120 people that are in the group at the moment. So there's people that drop out, right? I started with 109, then I added another 26 or whatever it is. So if you do the math, I'm at about 120, minus some of the people that have left. But yeah, so I've got 120 people in the group at the moment, and it's a lot of fun, a lot of enjoyment. We have a really good group of people in there, really engaged, just really friendly, fun atmosphere. And so, yeah, trying to see where we're going next.
That's amazing. Yeah, a lot of people in the comments giving some, yes, pivoted, 100% pivoted, went from full-time art teacher to full-time artist, major pivot. And also somebody said pivoted multiple times, which yes, that's the thing about business. I think that we have to remember, never be in a position where you feel like you know everything. Always be willing to learn. And so I think that's one of the biggest things about creating an online creative business. And that's the coolest part about being creative is we can do that. So share with us a little bit about, so I know in Outer Limits, we strongly talk and teach about email marketing, text message marketing, Pinterest marketing, all of the SEO, all of these wonderful things. Could you talk a little bit about email marketing and how that has helped your business?
So one of the things that I got from you early on was that I needed to build an email list. Unfortunately, it isn't something that I started right away. I figured I'll get to it. When I started to do the online painting, again, right at the beginning of COVID, like March, I think my first live was in April of 2020. I did about 6-7 of them in a row. And then I was like, you know what? I got to start collecting people's emails. So I started doing tracers and things like that where people, to get the tracer, they send in their email. At first, it was all manual, though. They were manually requesting it, and I was manually sending it to them.
I've been there, done
and
that.
It was insane. I was getting everybody's home, looking for stuff to do. Lots of people wanted to learn to paint. So I'm getting emails and emails and emails coming in, and I'm manually sending these out to everybody. And at first I was trying to send a little message to everybody. Oh, hi, thank you. Just a quick little short personalized message every time I would send a PDF for the tracer. That got pretty, it got tiresome pretty quickly. But anyway, I managed to build about 4,000 emails in a span of about 10 months, 11 months or so. That then in turn became my list for my launch. So that was the biggest thing I think that I took that was the biggest component or one of the biggest components to helping me have a really nice launch. But the thing about email marketing, I found a lot of it is kind of counterintuitive. When I started to learn how to use the email list, I felt like I was pestering people.
Always.
Right? Oh yeah, absolutely. I was like, oh my gosh, this will be the third email I send them, this week. They're gonna go, oh my gosh, So yeah, I felt like I was pestering people. But everything that I learned through Tribe, through you, and it's one of those things where it's like, if they're part of your list and they want to be on your list, it's for a reason. Let them know, you're here for them. You're constantly having to message them. So that was one of the things that I had to get past. It's still a little hard sometimes when I'm emailing people multiple times, but it is a crucial component to this whole thing. That is your list. Those are your people. And so, super crucial to be building that as soon as you can.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay. So that feeling of pestering people, right? Like that is totally natural, especially at the beginning. And I wanted to tell y'all, oh my gosh. So when I first started email marketing, and how many of y'all look at your email at least once or twice a week, right? I don't know about y'all, but I look at emails once a day at least. I mean, it's just a habit. You go to your phone, you check Facebook, you check Instagram, you check your TikTok. I mean, it's just a habit. It's like we grab our phone and then we check our email. Well, it's so crazy because I had that same feeling when I first started. But if you think about Hobby Lobby, Michaels, they send emails every single day without apologies, and we want those emails, right? We're like, okay, what's going on? And so I think it can be very hard when you're going from a place of never sending emails to now, wait a minute, I'm going to send during a launch, not typically, but during a launch, I'm going to send 3 emails in one day. Oh my gosh. I mean, it can feel very scary for you. And what's so funny is the other day, one of my team members, they called me and they were like, Heidi, we're getting so many people that are just so upset about you sending so many emails. They are just so upset. And I said, okay, how many people are upset? And she goes, well, there's at least 5 or 6 people. And I said, well, we have like 90,000 people on our email list. So it's okay if there's 5 or 6 people that are upset. Like, I mean, I don't want anybody upset, but that's a pretty like low ratio of 90,000 to 6 people that are upset. And so I think we have to remember, like, it does, it can make us have all these weird feelings about sending emails. But as long as you are consistent and you're giving value every week in your emails, and then when it's time to do a launch, like you did one, and now you have 120 online painting membership, during that short burst of time, that's when you have to do it. It's part of the process. So yes, Teresa says, I check my email every morning. It's my routine. And then, yes, Kellen says, I'm overwhelmed with the ads and emails. Yes. So I just heard a video this morning. I was listening to something, and they said that the average person is getting bombarded by 35,000 decisions in a day. And most of those decisions are done unconsciously. Like, we're not even realizing that we're doing it. So 35,000. So that people, like, if they're getting an email and they're getting overwhelmed, just to cut through the noise, if you're trying to make for example, I'm talking about outer limits right now. I have to talk about it till I'm sick of talking about it and now hearing about it. So, yeah, and Teresa says, if they're upset, they're not your people. So people can always unsubscribe.
That's right.
That's a lot. So, okay, so let's talk about your Facebook growth. I mean, you have over 35,000 people on your Facebook page now?
Yeah, I'm closing in on 37,000, I think is what it is, if I'm remembering correctly. Now that's on my business page, and the majority of that growth happened during COVID. I think I started in April 2020, when I did my very first live. I think I had about 700 people. It was a very inactive business page. I mostly used it as backup when somebody asked me, hey, most of my business was through word of mouth when I was doing my paint party. And I kind of used the business page just a little bit as a backup. People could jump on there and look at pictures and stuff like that, but I didn't post a lot to it. COVID hits. I was like, I've got to pivot. This is my opportunity to go online. I'm not exactly sure where this is going to end up, but let's go for it. So I started doing my lives. It took forever to get used to doing lives and getting in front of the camera. That's the biggest pain in the butt. The biggest difficulty for me was around that, I think. The painting part of it, teaching people how to paint, that was a little more natural. I've been doing the online or in-person paint parties for a long time, or for a few years, so I was comfortable enough with that. But anyhow, so all of 2020, I grew my page to I think it was about close to 30,000.
Wow.
And then things started slowing down towards the end of 2020, early 2021. I saw engagement dropping off as things started kind of opening up a little bit. Mm-hmm. But also, once I started getting into the mode that I was going to do a membership, I kind of stopped doing as many lives. I started focusing on learning how to do the membership thing. So anyhow, I managed to grow the business up to almost, again, I think I'm closing in on 37,000. The last few months have been really slow growth for the business page because I have not been as engaged as much. I've been focusing a lot on the membership. That's one of the things that I think I need outer limits for also, is to kind of get that rev back up again, because I know that feeds into the membership. I haven't done any reels. So a lot of the things that have changed over the past.
I want to hear that.
I know. I tell myself that every day. You got to do a reel. You got to get on those reels. But a lot of things, as we know, the algorithm with Facebook changes. A lot of the changes that have happened over the past few months, let's say the past 6, 7, 8 months, I have not been keeping up with. So those are things that I need help with. I need to get back into that, grow the business page again, get into that growing mode. At the same time, of course, learning what to do next to grow my membership. So
yeah. That's so okay. So correct me if I'm wrong, but you went from 700 followers on your Facebook business page to 37,000.
So closing in on 37. I'm like 36.7, 36.8. I can't remember. I think I looked at it last week. So yes, it was an awesome was an awesome growth spurt. I was looking at the numbers during COVID. I'm going, what is going on here? I think 1 month I grew like 10,000 followers 1 month. And then there was some months it was 2,000, 3,000. Sorry, some weeks 2,000, 3,000, 4,000. Right during the height of COVID though. So I was going live though 2, 3 times a week, doing full blown tutorials. Again, I didn't have a really clear focus as to what I was going to do with the followers once I got them, but I knew that I needed to have a base of people to cater to. On top of which, it felt really good to be able to do something when everyone was at home stuck. It felt good for me. I liked the community aspect of jumping on and teaching people how to paint. I got so many beautiful messages from people over the months, people that were super happy and just really grateful. That made me feel amazing. Part of the reason why I started, it was a really confusing time at the beginning of COVID. And I was like, okay, what do I do with myself, right? So it was kind of a win-win all around for me. So it was just an amazing journey. And here I am with the membership, happy to see where this goes next.
Man, congratulations. That is insane. And I think sometimes people feel like they may have missed the boat. I don't think that's true at all. Like, for example, like you hadn't even started Reels. Once you start Reels, that same growth is going to reignite. Because we were stuck at like 136,000 followers forever. And then I started doing Reels and Facebook Reels. And all of a sudden I went to like 100. I mean, like we grew like 15,000 followers, like in just like less than 3 weeks. It was crazy. Wow. And so, there's things that when you learn and you're constantly building your audience. I mean, that's the thing I want everyone to hear is that no matter what's going on, you've got to constantly build your audience. Like Jesse isn't all of a sudden going to like take his foot off the gas. I mean, yes, he has a new baby, so he might slow it down a little bit. Just a tiny bit. You got to find some sleep. But there is something to be said for, no matter what's going on in our life, no matter how tired we are, there's something to be said for the discipline of getting up and showing up. And I don't know about you, but it sounds like it. Like when I go live, seeing Cheryl post a comment and Cindy and Lisa and Linda right now, like that feeds my soul. And then I'm able to give more, even though we're at our house, doing our own thing. It's almost like all of you that are terrified to go live. I know it's scary, but there's so much benefits for us as being home alone and doing these videos for you. There's so much benefit for us too. So let's talk. I have 2 more things I want to discuss with you. What tips would you give somebody who is trying to build an online business? And then I want to know what your biggest goals and dreams are, if you don't mind sharing.
Sure. First, I'll give tips. I guess I'll get maybe a little specific. You're trying to build an online business doing this, where you're going on live and you're stuck because you're afraid of the camera. I say you just go for it. It's the best way to do it. It might be the hardest way mentally, but you go for it. Your people are going to find you. Your people, the people that you are appealing to, are going to come to you. Those are the people that are going to stick around with you. There's going to be some negativity, of course. There always is, right? But you just kind of don't let that affect you, and you just keep going. So go for it. If this is what you want to do, then do it. Whether it's you're doing kits, whether you're doing online stuff, whether you are, doing paint parties, you do it. You just go for it. That's probably the biggest thing that I would tell myself 5 years ago when I first thought about actually doing stuff online, is just go for it. It'll get easier over time. But I think so on a personal note, the most difficult thing for me was going live. And so that was, if I could tell anybody anything, is just go for it. Things you're gonna mess up. Things are gonna fall. There's gonna be glitchy things that happen with Facebook or StreamYard, etc. You get through them. Yes, your people are gonna stick with you. They're not gonna leave you just because you had a glitch on one of your sessions. I've had my camera drop I've had my phone ring. I forgot to put it on do not disturb. I've had my phone ring plenty of times during. Those are all normal and natural things, and I think people kind of almost even expect that. It's not a polished thing. It's not something that you need to have. Does not have to be perfect. That, I think, there we go. That's it. Things do not have to be perfect. You just go for it. It's never going to be perfect. Some days it's going to be a little rough. You're going to be like, oh my gosh, that session that I did wasn't the best. I wasn't at my best that day. My throat was really scratchy or whatever it might be. But you get back up, you do it again the next day or whenever the next one is. Just go for it. Things are not going to be perfect. That would be my advice right there.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. So, okay. So just playing off that, the other day I was supposed to go live and we had everything that could go wrong. And I just broke down. I just started crying and I was like, I'm supposed to be live in 3 minutes. And how am I going to make my face not look like this? And it was like, everything just kept like, and I mean, it was one of those moments where like, I just streamed, not like, just like tears coming in. I'm like,
you're defeated. You're done.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh my gosh, 3 minutes. How am I going to do this? And so I'm just like deep breaths and I go and I just like had a bunch of makeup on and I'm like, hi, Heidi here. But I mean, I think people think that, just because you've grown from 700 to almost 37,000 and me, doing my thing, that like everything's perfect when we go live. And that is not truth. Like there is still things that happen. Just the other day that like, all of a sudden I'm in a full blown crying right before I go live and you have, your camera fallen and now we're using your cell phone, which is totally fine. I think it's important that, we have to remind people that no matter what phase of business you're in, you're still going to have those moments when you're like, oh crap, this happened. And just to speak to the fact of like people being mean to you online, y'all, if you have watched me do videos at all, if you ever see me go out of the screen like this, that is because I have either just been heckled, somebody has said something mean, and I'm like literally like regaining my composure to go, okay, let's go on. Used to it throw me off my game or whatever. Now I'm like, I'm not even going to address it. Like they're trolls. We're not addressing it. We're moving on. Hurt people. And then I just regroup. So I always say it's a sign of like, Jesse, you made it. You made it. When people are being mean to you, you made it.
you persevere. You can't let that. It's funny because whenever I paid attention, because, comments as you're sitting there working and comments are flying by, right? So there's no possible way when I was doing my lives and I would have sometimes 800 people on at one time, 900 people painting at one time. There's no way you can see every single comment unless you got maybe a moderator or somebody working with you. So every once in a while I'd catch a negative comment. I'd look at it and I'd be like, what are they? And if it was something pertaining to the painting or what we're doing and I needed to address it, I would address it. Otherwise I would just let it go, or I would quickly ban the person. If I had a moment, I would even say it online. Oh, somebody's being rude in the comments. I'd call them out. I say, you're sorry, but you're banned. You're gone. It's going to happen. It happens to everybody. I think the big thing is you have to persevere. If this is what you want to do, whatever it is that you want to do, you have to persevere. Even I was telling you before we started, it was 8:52, and I'm like, I'm going to go get backstage on Heidi's StreamYard. I have a nice camera that I usually use to record myself to do this. I couldn't get it to come up on the screen on my laptop. So I'm like, oh my God. Okay, I got to back up. I'm going to put my phone up there. I had to scramble really quickly, put my phone up and get it going. Those kinds of things happen. They don't happen all the time, luckily, because it's frustrating, but it happens enough where you're going to have to be on your toes, from time to time. You're going to have to really quickly have a backup plan. But anyway, perseverance. I think that's another thing I would say.
I love that. Yeah, if you want to be in this online world, which oh my gosh, it is so, there's so many benefits and there's so many things that, yes, you're going to be overwhelmed and frustrated and stressed and all of these things, but then there's another side of it that is so awesome. Like, I don't know, we're about to learn what your biggest dreams and goals are, but like for me and my family, like I love traveling. And so forever, you know, even before we had the means to travel, I would figure it out. I'd go do paint parties and travel across the country just so I could pay for the things that we were going to do. And that's been the greatest thing about doing online is I can take my laptop and literally work anywhere, you know, and I think that is so exciting. So tell us, what are your biggest goals and dreams? I know you just had a baby, so that's a big deal. What are you thinking for the future?
I think the biggest thing is just, you know, having stability for my family, which we already have. You know, we have nice stability, but you never know what happens in the future, right? So having stability that comes from having a successful business that you can rely on for many years to provide for your family. That is a really big goal. I want to do a lot of traveling. I see myself, especially now that that I have a baby, even the months leading up to it, having this giant RV and traveling all around the country, and even painting from all these different locations and sharing those with you know, the followers of my page and my members, and having those beautiful experiences with the family. Those are things that I think really motivate me. As far as the actual business itself, I think that art is extremely therapeutic. Mm-hmm. One thing that I found more than anything, it was cemented during COVID. I already knew it beforehand. COVID really cemented the therapeutic nature of art. Anything creative, I think, is just extremely therapeutic. And I think along the path, dealing with COVID and all the messages that I was receiving from people that had no job, that had just lost their job, that were sitting at home stuck, completely freaked out because they didn't want to go outside. I realized that art was an outlet, really big outlet. And one of those things that I think is a big part of what I want to do is get that word out to more people that art is amazing. It's an amazing outlet, even if you don't feel that you're necessarily good at it. Even if it's some people, you always hear people, I can barely draw a stick figure, you know. Mm-hmm. Even in those cases, as long as you're creating, as long as you're doing something, it really will help your mind, body, and soul. It's just an all-around beautiful thing to be involved with, whether it's painting, ceramics, woodworking, what have you. So one of my things is to get as much as I possibly can with my business, get that message out there. I think there'd be a lot less need for therapists if more people are out there actually, getting involved with creative endeavors. Again, not necessarily absolutely if you want to make it as a business, you want to sell your art, et cetera, but at the very basis of all of it is to just get involved with it, do it, and you'll start to really feel the benefits, of that creating process.
Yeah, I know that's how many of y'all, let us know in the comments, how many of you use art to heal or use art as therapy? Because I know, oh my gosh, that's one of the biggest reasons why I paint is because, man, I can just put on some music or put on one of my favorite movies and just be in my art studio and painting, and everything feels okay. Like at that moment, everything is okay. And I'm going to make it another day. And so I think sometimes in this world, it can be so much. There can be so many pressures and so many things on us, and we feel the weight of it. But man, when I can just go, nope, today is a paint day, I'm out. Like I'm going to my art studio, and that is where I'll be for the next 7 to 8 hours. Like it doesn't matter what I'm painting. It's just the idea of having that brush in my hand. And I know a lot. Yeah, we have Valerie saying, yes, calms the soul. Leah says it helps so much with anxiety. Linda's saying it's very therapeutic. So yes.
There's a meditation to it, right? You're focused. You're just, everything else just falls away. Everything else just kind of disappears. And I think that's a big part of the whole process.
Yeah, I love what Nilda says. She says, God save then art. Yes, definitely. I love that. Okay, so all right. So where can they find you if they want to follow you? I know you're about to reach 37,000, so hopefully we'll help you reach more than that by this video.
Painting with Jesse is the business page name. Painting with Jesse, just like you have it on the screen there. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I'm not super involved with Instagram. I go through spurts on Instagram where I'm kind of involved, and then I stop. But Facebook for sure. My business membership, actually, my membership name is Finding Your Brushstroke, but Painting with Jesse is where you'll go find all of my stuff. And if you guys could give me a follow, it'd be amazing. It'd be fantastic. And I've got to get on those reels though. It sounds like the reels are the things to do it with. So I would say another thing about followers, even if you've got a really small group, if they're really engaged, that is worth 100 million followers with really tiny engagement. Mm-hmm. So if some of you are out there looking at your followers and you've got 500, you've got 1,000, and you're going, oh my gosh, that guy's got almost 37,000. If your followers are really engaged, that's worth tons more than 1 million followers with very low engagement. So I wouldn't look at it from that perspective. Yes, I'm happy that I've got that many followers, but it's more important to have engagement more than anything else. It's the engagement. So that's kind of what I'm looking for. Again, as far as outer limits, that's one of the things that I'm looking for to try to figure out. But yeah, I got to get on those reels. Maybe I'll do one today.
You have to. You have to just take some of your time lapses. We know you already have them from all those videos. Just take your time lapses and start posting them on your reels. And even if you don't have, for all of y'all, just a quick teaching moment, even if you don't have business reels, go ahead and post them on your personal reels, because Facebook is basically going to start changing all of the personal Facebook pages to professional pages. And it is crazy what is happening, because people who in the past who had a personal page couldn't monetize it, which means making money from it. And now you can. So it's really, really cool and exciting, the stuff that's coming. So just a quick recap, Painting with Jesse, if you want to find out more about him, he has started an online painting membership of 120 members, which, y'all, if you think about that, if you're in the paint party world, think if you had consistently 120 people every month, how cool that is. And he grew 4,000 emails in 11 months. And he went from 700 followers to almost 37,000 followers on his business page in less than a year. So I just want to say, if you are wanting to learn how to do something similar like Jesse's doing, I would love to teach you inside of Outer Limits. We do it once a year, and you have a couple of weeks to make a decision, because we start on February 1st. So Jesse, thank you so much for being here and sharing all your knowledge. My pleasure. My pleasure. Come join me, guys. I'm in Outer Limits already. I've joined, and let's share our wins and our losses, because there's going to be some losses that happens, right? But if you guys come on, we can all kind of get together and maybe share in the experience together. So I invite you guys to come join me too. Let's have some fun. That's the great thing, is you are collaborating with other people building their online business, and people like Jesse. So I'm excited to get y'all all connected and learn together, and just see what we can do in this online space. And I'm excited to help y'all. So thank you again, Jesse. And everybody, if you have questions about Outer Limits, let us know, or you can text me and we can give you the link for Outer Limits. My number is there. So you can just screenshot this and text me, and we'll give you the information about Outer Limits. All right, Jesse, thanks so much for being here, and y'all go follow him on Painting with Jesse. My pleasure. Thank you for having me. See you guys in Outer Limits. Bye, y'all.